everyone. My name is Marianne of Sense into Your Soul. And today I want to share with you my experience with human design and the Gene Keys. How complementary they are for me and how valuable they are. It's about 30 years ago I read a book. And the title of the book was You Are the World, written by Krishnamurti. Briefly, it's all about whatever you see in the world is not outside of yourself. It's a reflection of your inner world. We are not separate from the outer world. We are all interconnected and we are all an expression of source energy. We're all one, basically. And it was one of my first awakening moments because I just knew with every cell in my body, this is true. This is the deepest soul truth that lives within me. And it set me off on a journey because reading about it is one thing, but I wanted to experience it. And out of reading the book just came one big question. Who am I really? Who am I? And I went on this journey and it became a journey of exploration, of healing, of exploring many different coaching techniques and healing techniques and going through all kinds of therapeutic sessions in order to decondition and to start living life from who I truly am. I always had a sense that life is about love. Life is about being love. And I felt a strong call to walk that path, to walk in that direction and to start living that. And on the way, I'm talking about 30 years of my life already. About 15 years ago, human design came into my life for the first time. And at the time, I really felt, oh, wow, this is cool. This makes sense. This works. But I never felt the need to dive into it or to live it or to study it. But some things have a tendency to come back, and human design was one of them. And about a year and a half ago, it came back again. And I said, okay, I hear the message. And I started to dive into it. And I started to study it. And not only that, I started to live it, which is so important with human design. And at the same time, Gene Keys came into my life. And when I read about my profile, my Gene Keys profile, I was in awe. It just described the journey I'm walking in this lifetime. So it gave me a huge confirmation that we are somehow genetically imprinted with the journey of our lives, how we are wired in this lifetime to walk a certain path. And I'm going to share with you a picture of both systems so you know what I'm talking about. Here you see the body graph of the human design, which by the way was founded by Ra Uru Hu. And here you see a picture of the Gene Keys Holland genetic profile, founded by Richard Rudd. Both systems are calculated from your time, your date, and your place of birth. And what they have in common, they also make a calculation 88 days before you are born. And together they make either the body graph or the hologenetic profile. Both systems are also based on the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. And in the human design, they are called gates. And in the Gene Keys, these are the numbers, the keys that you see in these, what I call energy fields. So human design basically, what it has given me such a practical manual on how to live my life. Human design works with aura types, and each aura type has its own strategy and authority. And if you know nothing else about human design but just that, and you start living according to your inner authority, you start to decondition and you start to live more and more from your true inner self. Because every human being is so conditioned, and our mind is so strong, telling us we should be doing this and you can't do that, and you have to go there and you have to finish that job, and whatever voices each and every one of us have in our heads, that keep telling us how to live life. But if you start living according to your strategy, that starts to shift. What you see here are 9 energy centers, and you see that it's either colored in or open. And when it's colored in, you have consistent access to the energy of this energy center. And when it's open, there's a huge capacity to learn about it, because it's where you're so conditioned by the outside world. When I learned about my open centers, I had a lot of aha moments. I started to see how I was impacted by the aura of other people, and also how I impact other people with my energy field, with my aura. So learning about human design and the practicality of it has, and every day is still a huge help in my life to make, well, what we call the right decision, where you start to make choices that resonate deeply with who you are, and that you have the energy for to do it. So that is what human design uh, has given me and brings to me every day. The gene keys, it's a whole different approach, although it uses the same hexagrams and imprint, it has a whole different approach. Gene keys is a path of contemplation, and it consists of 3 different sequences. It has an activation sequence in which you learn all about your genius, about your higher life purpose, about your life's work, about the challenges that come with your life's work. It's the earth plane, it's the physical plane. So that's usually the first sequence you take when you start with the gene keys. There's a second sequence, that's the Venus sequence. Here you learn everything about relationships, about love, about how you are conditioned. Um, Maybe, through your genetics, through your parents, how you're conditioned to be in a relationship. I'm a 6 line, and now, well, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense, but 6 lines always want this perfect soulmate. They want this perfect relationship. And when I look back in my life, as I shared in the beginning, each and every one is a reflection of your inner self. I always had the perfect relationship, teaching me about myself, learning about me, about myself. It was a mirror. And what is so beautiful on the Venus sequence is that, again, it brings deep recognition, and it's the emotional plane. You start to dive into the emotional layers and to open your heart for yourself, and when you do it for yourself, for others. And then you have the Pearl sequence, that is the sequence of prosperity. How do I express my higher purpose in the world? How do I materialize it? And when I speak about purpose, or when in the Gene Keys you speak about purpose, you know, when ego hears the word purpose, it goes like, the mind goes like, oh, then I have to do this, and that's the goal, and that's what I have to accomplish. And it always thinks it has to do something to become someone. And that's the idea of the mind. But from a soul perspective, the soul uses a different language. The soul does not, well, maybe not so much think in what to do. The soul is all about being. So if you look at this word here, you know, the soul uses words like transparency or presence or freedom. That's the language of the soul. So if in your life's work you find the word transparency, then that is what the soul, that's the divine expression of your soul. And when you start on this life's journey, you're gonna explore all aspects of it. So, and all aspects are, you know, it's all frequencies. So we have the fear frequency and we have the divine frequency. And the richness of the Gene Keys is that it describes and helps you explore all these different frequencies of your genetic keys. And the funny thing is that the moment we start talking about the shadow, the ego sort of shuts down and says, well, that's not part of me. You know, that's not what I want. That's not who I am. Well, no, that's not what I want in life. And through my experience, I just can share with you that the shadow is so filled with potential, waiting to be discovered. It is the key to your gift. And if you are able to embrace all of it, it truly enriches your life. So that's what, you know, and you start contemplating these words. Where do you see them in your everyday life? Where are you, for instance, dishonest with yourself? And are you willing to look into that mirror and to start evolving and to start connecting with your true self? So both systems hold great value for me. And I hope that with this video and with my explanation of it, I've inspired you to look into these systems or in one of them, whatever speaks to you the most. And I will leave the website addresses so you can dive into your own body graph or your own Gene Keys profile. And why it's so important to me, you know, what I've experienced is that the moment more and more people start to live life from their soul qualities, this idea of separation starts to vanish. And that is when we are creating a different world, not based on ego, not based on competition, but based on uniting and recognizing that we are all this unique expression of source energy with our own qualities, with this own unique genetic imprint. You know, in essence, we hold everything. But in this lifetime, you are imprinted with these qualities, with these genetic, it's a genetic imprint. So, well, hopefully I inspired you with this video. And if you feel like it's exploring your Gene Keys or your human design together, feel free to reach out. And For now, thank you for watching. See you next time.